Okay, I just would like to let a few people know what really happens in hospice. All those people wanting to put their loved ones in hospice, well, let me explain and then I'll leave it up to you. My uncle was in the hospital. He was there quite a long time. Anyway, it was up and down. He was getting better, getting worse, getting better, getting worse. He was good until almost the time that the insurance would run out. Then between all the medications, and then he stopped breathing. They needed nurses around the clock. There was times that they over medicated him, and they covered up their mistakes. Well, anyway, while this here, he was in the hospital. The days dragged on longer and longer. The wind up was he was in there a few more months. From then, insurance ran out. What could they do? He would have to go home. We did bring him home. He got home care. He got home care, and he has some other people coming over, keeping an eye on him. He had nurses around the clock. They come and they take the temperature and his blood pressure, making sure he's eating right and fixing his pills. We got to the point where he was doing really fantastic, and he happened to fall one day. When he fell, he did call the 911. From the 911, they brought him to the hospital. It was a down trip all the way through. It was one thing after the next. It was either he couldn't breathe, they were putting him to sleep, he would get up, fall off the chair, they would call me telling me he fell when somebody was supposed to be there with him, or have him strapped into the chair. They call me at night telling me that he fell. When I told them, wasn't he strapped in? Then the next day, for a whole week, they had somebody sitting by his bed, a nurse, so he wouldn't fall. Then, meanwhile, while he's there, they kept talking to him, and when I would call them, they would keep talking about hospice. Mind you, my uncle been in the hospital, in and out, for 2 years. I have contact with both the nurses and my uncle. I spoke to him every single day like clockwork. When the time came for hospice, I had told my Uncle Raymond, please, you sign it. If you sign and you want to go and that's how you want to live, I'll gladly sign it. To me, my uncle always wanted to go home, and that's what I was always interested in trying to do, and was bringing him home. He had a great friend, Bob Banky. Bob Banky, when he was up that hospital, Mr. Bob Banky went up there like clockwork. Every day would bring him up whatever he needed. And he was a close friend to my uncle, which I still till today keep in touch with. My uncle couldn't ask for a better friend than how Mr. Bob Banky was for him. The wind-up was in the hospital there, doing the hospice. He kept saying no. Finally, they had one nurse one day come by, told him that if he goes there, they have a swimming pool and he can order whatever he wants to eat. This was 8 o'clock at night. Fine. He signed, he went. They called me, they told me he was going. I didn't approve of it, but since my uncle wanted to go, I agreed with it. Okay, they went to the hospice. While at the hospice, an hour later, where I called him, he was asking for food. He was asking for spaghetti and meatballs, to be honest, and they turned around and they told him no. So see, I was disappointed. He felt disappointed, but I knew they weren't going to make him a dish anything that he wanted, but they conned him into signing the paper to think he can get anything he wanted. So right there alone, I believe that is wrong, but it's my word against my uncle's word, and he's not in his right mind right now, so they won't even be listening to me. The wind-up was they were giving him morphine. With the morphine, I understand when they go to hospice, they're there so they're drugged up. My uncle was not in no pain. I talked to him for 2 years back and forth. While he was in the other hospital, he did get a bed sore. That bed sore was very painful, and he would tell me that. When they gave him the morphine that first night, the second night, I asked to speak to my uncle, and I couldn't speak to my uncle. They told me he was sleeping. I called breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and he was always sleeping. I called the following day, again, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he was sleeping. I finally asked for the supervisor, could they please connect me to my uncle's room. When the supervisor went, she seen that the phone was in a drawer. So because I kept ringing the phone that it was bothering them, and he was sleeping because of the morphine, he couldn't even answer the phone. My opinion on this, out of the whole thing, to be morphine, when I even asked the lady, how did she know how much morphine to give him more? Because each day when they were giving him the morphine, I asked how much. Eventually she told me they increased it. When I had asked her why they increased it, they told me because the expression on his face. How can that be? Really, how can that be? If the bed sore was bothering him, it made him maybe twitch his face a little bit. By those grounds, they give him more morphine? She wasn't even aware of the bed sore. That's what gets me. So how many of these people that are there in a hospital have more morphine than they really need? They're not in pain, but they're there to die. Don't you think this is kind of sad? And, isn't there something that we can do about this? Because I know when it's your loved one in there, you try to do anything you can. And if they keep doing it this way, drugging them up, before, they drugged them up until they died. But meanwhile, they're getting drugged up. They never were able to talk to their loved one again. That was my loved one. I was never ever able to speak to him from the time he went into the rehab, the hospice. Never again did I talk to him. Why? He's all drugged up. So, do you think that's right? I would like some opinions on that, or give me some input on what I'm saying. But I do hope that I can help some people and maybe change their mind by letting them go to hospice. Maybe they can do something from their home or have a home attendant in their nurse. It might work out better for them in the long run than really how this hospice was being treated with their loved ones. So I would please like any following or any questions, and I hope I helped a few people. If I helped only one, I did my deed. Thank you.